peaches made it out of the tube, clearly so. Definitely got to get a cage for that. That's a Siberian sea, so that has a high chance of living up here in the UP. There's another one. I like all this goldenrod growing in here, giving them some shade. That one's growing. Not as good as the other ones though. I think this is the one that wasn't growing. Oh no, it's right here. And here it is. We'll leave it grow with that canary grass. It kind of protects it. One that wasn't growing, that must have been that little one. So now even that's growing. Good. Who's your daddy? Come on, let me get a look at you. He just wants to run. Here's the wild rice in the little pool here. This is where it grows the best. And it is very behind the other ones. But it's growing here. I do have a pretty big cage. I should probably bring it in here and cover these up. Cover some of them up. There's even some singles in here. Lots of cattails growing now. They got to compete with the cattails. We're going to leave that happen and find out how they respond. Isn't that a pretty picture here? We've got pond lilies, water lilies that are blossoming for the first time. And if we kind of zero in on this one over here, we got a prince. Look at. And we'll want that be. You can see how close I get to him before he jumps. Oops. Almost fell on my ear here. There, now I'll get a good one. Oh. He wasn't having any of that. So we got one that's just about to blossom. And we have one that's blossoming. And we have another one that's really blossoming. I'll have to come over here to get a video of that one. Oh, this elderberry is actually sending up a shoot too. Good. Oh, that's got some nice yellow inside. We can get a nice visual. Look at that. That's inviting. Can't believe it. That's really nice. So right here where there's been a really nice stand of wild rice, and if we judge by the numbers, it is a lot of them in here. If we judge by the height and we compare it to our rice pits, they're barely getting going. I'll have to look at my past videos to see what dates they were when they started to blossom. I think those pits are probably just way ahead because it's shallow water and it's getting all that sun there, and the water's very warm. Interesting. That is black tapelo that's growing. I think there's one in here growing yet. Barely, but it's growing. And I got one over here without a cage right here. I think this is it right here. That's a brand new growth on the top. Here's the honey locust. It's growing right out of the weeds, so it's at least 3.5 feet tall now. It really likes growing here. Alright. This is a giant hula culture right here. It'll feast its roots into. Pretty. Some type of a honeysuckle. I didn't plant them, they just showed up here. That's interesting how they got their berries in here. Leaves are kind of cupped right around it. I rooted these sea berries. I had a couple of males that got bent over and broken up by a deep snow this last year in 2019, December 2019. So I cut it up and I shoved it in the various branches. This is just one branch and it's growing. That actually probably was a bigger one, but it's growing pretty good there. It's got some brand new growth on it. So it's going. I did lots of them. And it appears like they root rather easily. Now these are males, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select females and graft on them. Oh, here's one that died. And here's one of my stakes. This one looks like it died, so they're not 100%. Although it's sticking in the ground pretty good, it might have some roots. It might be sending some out of the roots. It looks like most all of them are alive though. Otherwise. Huh. I didn't know. I just thought I'm going to make use of them, see what happens. This was a really big one here. Really thick part. See how thick this is? And that's growing too. So it's along the swale here. They'll get plenty of moisture even in the dry years. That's pretty good. Here's the last one. So this is kind of in some bleak area here. You can see there's not a lot growing here. And that's what these nitrogen fixers are good at. Rehabilitating soil that doesn't like to grow anything other than nitrogen fixers. There's a big one. Right at my hat shadow. That is a monster northern green frog. This is a red sour cherry that's decided it wants to grow. Decided, okay, it's going to live here. We're looking at 8 feet tall here now. And a side branch coming up too. And these right here are sea berries. This is a first year fruiter for this particular tree. We'll see what they taste like. It's got some thorns, not very many thorns, just a couple. Yeah, this might be another one that's got very little thorns. I've got one that's got no thorns. That is a deer bed. Fresh. That's where its rear was. Came over here, this is where the head was. Must be a little one around here for a fawn too, I bet. Unless it was buck. I had rock mulched this hazelnut a couple of years ago. And that in the cage, it's responding quite nicely. So they're looking probably 1.5 tall now. It was just a little tiny thing when I put the rock mulch around it. That's to preserve moisture. They'll send their roots underneath those rocks and they'll be able to drink because moisture doesn't evaporate at all underneath the rocks. You could take a driest drought and you flip a rock over and you'll have moisture. Planted a red bud right in the root system of the sea berry. Sea berry, sea buckthorn, fixes nitrogen, and this red bud is really loving it. I probably should put a cage around it. And that one here that's growing really pretty. And you can focus. Another sea berry. What did I plant next to this one? Oh, a peach. So the idea is these other trees, they grow and they shade the buckthorns out and eventually kill them and eat them and grow faster. Ooh, this one's got a guard. Got a couple of guards in there. I don't know what this one is. I don't remember. It's got its sea berry right here. The cheer bulbs on this bed of old straw. See, some of them are growing. You got to really compete with all this mess. Oh, there's one coming up right there. I know how tough it is. There's one there. Something's eating on it. If there's any coming out of this bed of goldenrod, it'll be really tough. Yeah, we'll see what happens.